Yeah, why? Yes, I will. There's somewhere. I'm on a more place. Still, I'm did. Not playing yet. What's going on? Well, maybe I'll have to get it. It's not going on YouTube. I don't want to start going on to YouTube. That's weird. Anyway, it's not going on Facebook. I mean. Anyway, hello. Welcome to the house of Shalom Bible studies. I was praying about this. Now, first of all, I'm gonna put on my regular glasses, so I can see to read the paper. Anyway, okay. First, let me start off with Matthew 7:12, the Amplified Bible. So then, in everything, treat others the way you want them to treat you. This is the essence of the law and the writings of the prophets. Yes. Now, how do you want others to treat you? This doesn't get us. It doesn't say they will treat you the way you treat them. It's how you want them to treat you. It's the way you. And I've heard people say, "Oh well, they want me to treat them this way, so I'm going to treat them this." Well, they might want you to, but you don't have. You don't have to. I mean, come on. They might hit you. Doesn't mean you got to hit them back. No, they might want you to fight with them, but you don't have to fight with them. They might want to, but you don't have to. Now, what about speaking to or about? I mean, speaking to or about others. What you want them to speak to or about you. The same way. It's the way you want them to treat you, speak to you, speak about you. It's the way you treat them or speak to or speak about them. Doesn't mean they will, but hey, that's the way it is. If you want them to, you go and be the first. Be an example. Show them what you want. So do it and speak it. And there's something else about this. I'll get to that later. But death and life are in the power of the tongue. And those who love it and indulge it will eat the fruit and bear the consequences of their words. Now, loving the tongue, indulging in the tongue. Well, you love the tongue to eat, yes. I'm sure you want to taste your food. Do you like having a tongue? Yes, but we're talking about those who use the tongue to speak. You speak. I mean, doesn't matter if you speak a lot. You speak. You're indulging the tongue. You're indulging in the power of the tongue. It's actually the power of the mouth, the power of your words, but you're indulging it. And so you're going to bear the consequences of it. So in other words, with the last verse, you say what you say to others. You talk about others the same way you would want them to talk about you. You refer to them the same way you'd want them to refer to you. Yeah, Jesus did this. He did this a lot. Well, besides the Pharisees and Sadducees, he killed them. I mean, he used words on them. He gave them, read them the right act. But he used the other people. He spoke about the righteous righteously. Well, spoke about them well. And that's what he wanted them to do with him. You might not show it in the Bible, it might not be written in the Bible, but I'm sure he used good words all the time for everyone except the religious people. Well, no. He said the Pharisees sit in Moses' chair, so do what they say. But then he said don't do what they do, because they don't do what they say. They don't even do what they say. They're hypocrites. Don't do that. All right. Now, this, by the way, that was Proverbs 18:21, the Amplified Bible. The power of death and life are in the power of the tongue. And those who love it and indulge it will eat the fruit of it and bear the consequences of their words. Now this Romans 4:17, the New International Version. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. He is our Father in the sight of God, in whom he believed. In whom he believed. The God who gives life to the dead and calls into being things that were not. Calls into being things that were not. Yes. Abraham believed God. Now, there are degrees of believing. You can believe someone just to put them off. You're not really believing them. Just believes that they said what they said, but you don't really believe it. You don't trust, in other words. Or you can believe mixed with trust. That's believe. That's what it means. Abraham believed God. So what did he do? Well, he copied God. He did what God did. Here, in fact, Jesus said it's from John 4:12. The New International Version says, "Whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing." He believes in them, he will do them. He will believe, he will do. There it is. So, by the way, I want you to read the rest of that verse. Actually, read the rest of that chapter. It's great. But Abraham believed God, so he did what God did. God raised the dead. Yes. Have you ever raised the dead? Believe it or not, I have. I found it to be true. It wasn't a dead person, but I raised the dead. I raised a dead bird, raised a dead cat. Yes. She was dead. The doctor said she was dead. I remember placing a bird under a bush and praying and calling that bird back to life. Later on, I came back, the bird was gone. No one was there, and the bird was just gone. I believe that. I believe it just flew away. Um, and what did it, what got, how did Abraham get a son anyway? He called things that be not as though they were. Abraham had no son. His wife was even pregnant. She was barren, but he called things that be not as though they were. How do I know that? He called himself Abraham. Yes, God called him Abraham, but he called himself Abraham after what God said. That's why I'm calling myself healed. That's what God said. So I believe you could agree with me. I'm healed. Uh, anyway, that's how God created the world. He called things to be not as though they were. He called things to be not as though they were. He came to earth. In fact, Steadfast Donner says he came down to earth after he created light. He came down to earth and created the trees. He came down to earth and said, chirp, chirp. He said, let there be birds. And there were birds. Huh? Bzzz. Said, let the bees buzz around the flowers. And there were bees. And moo. Let the cows come out. There were cows. Who let the dogs out? And there were dogs. Well, whatever. Okay. Anyway, Matthew 32. Well, Matthew 32. 31 through 30. No, 32 through 33. The Berean Study Bible. Therefore, everyone who confesses me before men, I will confess him before my Father in heaven. But everyone who denies me before men, I will deny before my Father in heaven. Yes. In the middle ground, be ashamed. You might have one time confessed Jesus Lord before your pastor and never said anything about it before again. And when someone asks you about it, don't say anything. Why? You think you're afraid of the manager of the store? No, you're not really afraid of him. You're ashamed of the name of Jesus. Don't be ashamed. It's not good. Because you'll be ashamed of him, he'll be ashamed of you. He'll be ashamed of you before the Father. That's what he does. He does for you what you do for him. Okay, Romans 1:16. Now we'll see what Paul said. That's the NIV. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. First the Jew, then the Gentile. Okay, now back to something Jesus said. Now, when Jesus was talking, he gives a parable of the after the last days, the king will sit down, will have the sheep goes before him, will divide up the sheep on one side and the goats on the other side, and it said, you fed, you clothed, and they said, well, Lord, when do we see you hungry enough? Others feed you in little huts. And the other said the same thing. He said, when did you see you hungry and not feed you and stuff like that. And Jesus said, truly I tell you, whatever you did whatever you did or did not do, whatever you did not do for the least of these, you did not do for me. Now that's Matthew 25:45, the New International Version. And Jesus is the king. You got that, right? Jesus is the king. Okay. By the way, the full parable is Matthew 25:31 through 45. So, what he's saying in all of this is when you are doing something for someone else, that's what you're saying you want Jesus to do for you. Or to you, or whatever. If you're saying something to someone else, that's what you want Jesus to say to you, or about you. Oh boy. So anyway, so remember that what you say or do about Jesus or about someone else. How about that? Or about someone else. He will do the same for you. You watch out when you do that. So think about this before you do anything. Think, do I want Jesus to do that about me? For me on my behalf? Do I want Jesus to do this on my account? Well, hey, I just report the word. I just tell the word. Don't blame me. Don't blame me if your life's falling apart. Well, mine was for a while, but it's getting better. It's getting better. Yes, that's why I ask you to know how to pray, who know how to pray in the name of Jesus in tongues to pray for me. Because I could use all the prayer and support I can get. Pray for me. My neck's healed. In fact, I asked God for, well, my health as if I was 20 or 16. That was full health. My neck moved right. My balance was right. My speech was right. My colon, everything was right. I mean, I had no pain in the body at all. And I would like that. So I ask you to pray for me. And pray in tongues. And I've got to go. So God bless and no worries. Hey, just pray in tongues. Bye.